All right, welcome back to Automate Live. We're here with DIY Robotics, and since we've got a big crew today, we're going to go down the line and do introductions. I'm one of your hosts, Chris Luecke, host of Manufacturing Happy Hour.
And I'm Jake Hall, the manufacturing millennial.
Yeah, my name is Matthew Berby. I'm working at DIY Robotics since 7 years now. I have a degree in electrical engineering and more specialized in robotic and automation. So I've done a lot of job in robotics. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah, hi, I'm Tali. I'm the business development manager for DIY Robotics, and I'm pretty new in the industry, automation and everything like that. It's been just 2 years since I'm here. So I'm still learning a lot, and it's really impressive for me to be here at the Automate Show.
Well, maybe as we get into, we're interested to hear a little bit about your journeys into the robotics world, for example, right? Maybe Matthew, we'll start with you, and then Tally, if you can tell us after that. We'd love to hear how you got into the space.
Yeah, I started working in automation at first when we did not make most of the robotic processes inside the engineering. But then I make my way inside the robotics after 1 year's working there, and I've done the integration in many processes inside the industry, the car industry, plastic, and dispensing and stuff like that. So I've worked mostly with Fanuc Robot at the beginning of my career, and now I'm learning some other brands out there, starting to work with some new robotics company that we are seeing growing up. And yeah, I've been working in robotics. That's a very great field of interest for me. And there's a lot of new technologies that I really like to work with.
Oh
Awesome.
I have a really different journey, actually.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Yeah, well, I started by specializing myself in graphic design. So I was a graphic designer working in other industry, and I ended up going back to school to make a marketing degree. And after that, I was looking to, have a career. And I ended up at DIY Robotics, actually, where it was my first experience in industrial robotics. And I think it was the best I could find because these folks are making robotics really simple. So it's really easy for an outsider to learn more and quickly about robotics because everything, I know Matthew might be better than I to explain how we do it, but it's a way to simplify robotics to make it accessible and affordable. So when you don't know anything about robotics and you ended up working on it, and I was supposed to write a content on the website and everything like that, so I had to become quickly an expert in it. So it was really easy for me to learn, and these folks helped me a lot.
So simplifying robotics, I think that's why the name DIY
Yeah.
robotics came about. Do it yourself.
Precisely.
Tell us about. If no one's familiar with DIY robotics, there's 5 different expos booths right now that have your product in it right now at the Automate Show floor. Brand new person in the industry. Explain what is DIY robotics.
Yeah, DIY Robotics is, as Taddy just said, is we simplify the robotic integration inside the facility. So we offer different varieties of robotic cells. So we can just sell you a frame if you already have a robot and you have an end of arm tooling and robotic knowledge inside the companies. If you don't have any robot, but you've got some robot expert that can do the programmation, we can provide this cell to you, which we call the DIY Classic, which is a cell with a robot without any tooling, but a base of programmation. Like if you want to start the cell by simply pressing a reset and start, everything is done. The one thing you will have to work with is just creating the path with your tooling you're adding on it. And we also offer another brand, which is the DIY Advance, which is kind of a bundle situation. Yeah, it's kind of more of a bundle situation where you can just buy a pre-built cell with a tooling on it, a process on it. Like you can see on the booth at the Automate right now, we've got some bundles that people can just start look at and say, I want that cell, especially the one at DIY and 3M. I want a robotic cell doing a deburring process. This cell is already pre-built, pre-programmed. The only thing you will have to do is just create the path for your parts, but all the rest is going to be integrated by us. So we offer different variety of robotic integration like this.
I'm curious what you've seen about the overall collaborative nature of the robotic space so far, because that's a big part of your solution is getting other groups to like
Yeah.
getting people to work together, share best practices. I'd be curious what you've seen just as your general impressions of how this industry works well together.
Yeah, we've seen. We have right now a network that have other integrator working with ourselves because we are not an expert in welding and dispensing and cutting and all those process. But we have some great partners in our network that have specialties that can be added to the DIY robotic, and this is why we are working like this. We already created a forum on our platform, so everybody who's have a question about error code on the robot, then just type in the forum and receive an answer. We are trying to get the information out there because everybody's gonna start working with robot in the next 5 years, I think, and it's good to have the knowledge spread out everywhere, just to have more people coming expert in that in those fields of robotic and automation. So,
So yesterday we had one of the co-founders, Bob Little from ATI, on our show yesterday, and DIY Robotics has a demo in the ATI booth. Ty, I question you: what's it been like working with companies who have been in the industry for 30 plus years? And I saw you walking around with Erica yesterday. She's one of the marketing directors of marketing there. What's it been like working with people who've been in the industry for years and kind of learning from them the works of the trade when it comes to booth development and working with partners? What's been your experience so far with that?
But it's been really formative. I mean, it's a really tough training, but those people are so kind. I mean, ADI is one of our favorite partners because everybody there know their expertise. They know what they're doing, and like Matthew just told us, we can't be an expert in everything. Otherwise, you're just average in everything. So we're partnering with people that are experts in their field, and being in touch with like Erica, like we mentioned it. I mean, she helped me a lot going through, and she gave me idea, and she also helped me think. Oh, have you thought about this? Maybe in automation, is something you should. Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot. So it's really good training for me, and I'm really glad to be in touch with these people. And
So, what are some of the other partners on the show floor that you're working with right now, and how do they each bring value to, or and how does DIY and them work together to bring value to an end user?
well, we are working also with 3M and ATI again. It's the first time actually we are showing a new product, which is a robotic sanding cell, partnering with 3M. So I work a lot with Michelle from there to develop the expertise around sanding, because this is something we don't have at the Robotic, especially. We know a little bit about it, but we're not expert in sanding. So partnering with 3M helped us develop a product that is really, really great to do what it has to do. So partnership is really valuable because, like I mentioned, it helps us have expertise we don't especially have. So it guides us through the journey. It helps us think about some. I mean, abrasive it's a universe on itself, and we can't be expert in robotics and abrasive at the same time. So partnering helps us having this knowledge.
I'm curious to go back in time a little bit, right? We kind of jump back into it and your journeys into DIY robotics, but we'd love to hear about maybe the story behind how DIY robotics got started, right? Where was the need that you noticed in this space? Or I should say that DIY robotics noticed in this space to say, we need a solution like ours in this industry.
Well, actually, it's because industrial robotics is really expensive, and it's I mean, an industrial robot is most of the time bolted on the floor. It's really permanent situation. You
Yeah.
can't move it whatever you want. And we realized over time that small and medium businesses that have a massive need to automate, because we have a lack of staff recently. Everybody knows that it was something before the COVID, but it's something still now. And they need to automate to have better ROI, to have better performance in the businesses. But I mean, it's a big investment. And what if your needs today are not the need tomorrow or next year? So they come through us being like, we want a solution affordable but still flexible. So this is why we developed a total brand of standardized, mobile, and modular cells. So our cells are not bolted on the floor. You can move it. So if this year this is the way my plant should be, but in 2 years I will have to move it all the way around because my
Mm-hmm.
needs aren't the same. Our
Yep.
cells can follow. So you don't have to invest again. And if you want to modify it, I mean, maybe you have two cells and a conveyor, and in 3 months, I don't know, the business has changed, you're growing up, and oh, we need another conveyor. No problem. You're just gonna modular the thing and add another conveyor in it. You don't need to ev- swipe everything and replace everything. So it really follow the growth of your business. So this is where the need came from at the beginning. So we developed the whole product around modularity and flexibility. And because it's standard, it's helped us a little bit with the
For the chain supply right now.
yeah.
That's the uh, that's the new problem. Since 7 years, 5 to 7 years, there was the lack of stuff. But since the COVID, what we are seeing right now is the lack of parts. And the problem with the supply chain is you can have an entire robotic cell, an entire big machine ready to be shipped, but you're still waiting for a connectors or cables or just a sensor, and everything is stopped because of that part, and you can't do anything because you're just waiting for that. So by having some standard product that we can reuse, we already have some plenty of cell at the DIY robotics facility, so we can just pick up one valve from a cell and put it on the other one because we want to ship that cell right now and wait for the other parts to come in. But we reuse the same part over and over again, and that's how we can handle that problem right now.
So I think the other thing as well, when a lot of companies for the first time want to know how much it's going to cost, where is um, the risk when it comes to putting an automation system? When you go on like DIY's website, for example, they can go in there and they can almost build from a recipe of like, this is the type of robot that we need to use. This is the payload that we're using. This is the rate that we need to move it in. And it's kind of giving manufacturers who've never been in automation before a step-by-step guide on how to, develop their first system. What went into that when you thought of, I'm going to develop this system versus just leaving a phone number for them to call me and having it closed like that?
Yeah, uh, we had that idea because we were doing engineering custom process for the client, and when you wanna when you wanna quote a project, you want to get some price, and you want to see all the pricing that what you are putting inside the robotic cell. But yeah, most of the time it's not available on the website. You need to call. So this process is very long to just provide a quote, and at the end maybe you're not gonna have the project, but you work very hard on it just to receiving price and stuff like that. So we saw that problem also inside robotics. Nobody was giving any pricing. You don't know what size of robot, how it gonna cost you, and how you're gonna see the automation in pricing range for your businesses. So uh, we just said, okay, so just put a standard price for a robotic cell. So everybody's gonna just come inside the DIY robotic website and say, okay, if I wanna do packaging stuff like that, it's gonna cost me 150. Okay, so I can go see my boss, pitch him the price. If it's working, we already have a solution. But if it's not working, I didn't spend any hours on receiving price just by the end not giving the project. So,
Absolutely. Now, when you look at the future state of manufacturing, right now we're in a really unique time. We're coming out of a pandemic where there's a massive demand. Uh, there's a very open amount of people who or manufacturing companies who need to find skilled labor, and they're turning more to automation than ever before. Where do you see automation going in the next 3 to 5 years? Now, I would like to start with you, Telly, on that.
Oh, bye.
Yeah.
You got me. Okay. Well, I think I think automation will take obviously more and more places in every sort of company, and we are working to make it really accessible to every size of businesses. So right now, a lot of business think they are too small for automation. Like we don't have the resources, we don't have the knowledge, we don't have the money for it. Well, yes, you do. Just first call us. But still, automation can be really simple, and I experienced it personally. it doesn't have to be incredibly complex and hard. It can be sometimes. It's necessary to be really complex sometimes, but some other times it doesn't need. And there's a lot of people just for the sending bundle, for example. People are like, yeah, but might be I want this level of precision, and we are like, this is a solution for an affordable solution. I mean, you don't need to have the level of precision of, spatial thing. You don't go to space with your cabinet.
Yeah.
You don't need that. And the question is always, who's doing it right now? Oh, it's a guy with his hands. Okay, what's his level of precision exactly? Oh, yeah, that's right. The robot will be more precise anyway. So it's accessible, it's affordable, and I think the place that automation will take it will be more going into small and medium businesses because there are a massive need there, but there's a lot of companies that are need targeted big and massive industry. So I think we will have a little shift in the next few years around that.
Yeah, and the people doing production employees, they are going to start being more specialized in automation and working with robots. So um, what we are doing right now at DIY Robotics is offering also a training for those people. So you're not an expert in robotic, fine. We can guide you through the step of being an expert in robotic and creating some programs and point and path programming and stuff like that. So we are providing those training because we want the people to start working with ourselves and make project very very good project and project that can run and be a good project for them. So that pass through the training that we are offering at DIY right now.
I love hearing those perspectives, not only from where you see the automation world going in the next 3 to 5 years, but how you play into that as well. I'm going to go a slightly different direction with this next question, and that's I'm curious. Your company is based in Quebec, and I'm seeing more and more robotics companies and technology companies based out of not only Canada but Quebec specifically as well. I'd love to get your take on what the tech scene, the robotics scene is like up there. I see you as an emerging leader in the robotics space, so I'd love to hear more from your perspective.
Yeah, right now we've got some training at the university and that they are providing robotic trainings directly, and it's not just since 2 or 5 years. It's been there for a while, and I worked with the robot the first time. I think I was 16 years old, and I was working for a company doing researches with laser, and I started to work with an ABB robot. I never done it before, and that what gives me the opportunity to start working, and I really liked it. So that's why I went in that kind of training at the school. Um, but yeah, that's I think because of the researchers right now, we've got some new companies growing up. The smallest robot in the world is in Quebec with the
Is Mechademic next to you
yeah,
guys?
Mechademic is they are based in Montreal, so they are doing the smallest robot in the world. Uh, right now, they don't have the biggest robot because for sure it's Fennec. We've seen it at a show right now.
Yeah, I still would love to get a photo. I mentioned this yesterday. I would love to get a photo of the Mechademic robot right next to the M2000.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And have the world's smallest and the world's largest robot next to each other. I think would be pretty amazing.
yeah.
And for those that might not know, what does the world's smallest robot do? What is its function? And like when we're talking small, how small is it?
Oh man, the Mechademic 500. I think it's got like a half kg payload.
Okay.
Don't quote me on that, but I see a lot of use in the med device space actually, where in lab settings we're doing a lot of unique picking and precision parts and placing. It's there's a need for a robot in every application, it seems.
Yes, I'm just looking out for a crew out there that might not be familiar with all those robots. I think the big one's easy to see because it's the one that's throwing around a Corvette right now. So
very cool. Well, hey, DIY Robotics, anything else that you want to share the audience here that you want them to become more familiar with? You're at the ATI booth. There's 4 other booths at the Automation Show. So if you're not able to visit us live at Automate, you can go online. You can look at ATI Automation. What are the 4 other booths that you have demos at this week?
We have a demo at 3M booth. We are at Kinova booth, another French Canadian company from Quebec. We are at Robotics, another one from Quebec too, and at Robot Master. So we're showcasing, yeah, 5 cells this week at the Automate show, and it's really good because a question we have really often is, okay, it's mobile, it's modular, but is it really tough enough for industrial robotics? Yes, it is. Try to move one. I really want to see it because it's really when it's jacked on its leveling pad and it's not on its wheel, it's really really hard to move. But when it's on a wheel, I mean, I can move the biggest. We have the Saturn 66 the ADI booth right now, and I can move it on my own when it's on the wheels. So it's really we have reached the right balance between heaviness and lightness to be easy to move. So I think this is the moment that people should see. I mean, yes, it's mobile, but still, it's
Yeah,
it's
it
what's
can
the word?
handle a big industrial robot full speed, and that is the first part of the industry having robots. So they were industrial high speed. So we need to have a very robust system to hold that in place. So that's our cell right now.
And outside of the show, where is the best spot to find you guys to connect with you outside of Automate?
I'll say on the web. And
Yes,
in
on our
Quebec,
website.
we are based at Sherbrooke. We've got some plenty of cell right there. If you want to come visit us, we have robot, and you can play with robots on our directly to the company. So
There you go. So
Well,
that'd be either Google DIY Robotics
yeah.
or DIYRobotics.com.
Yes,
yep,
Okay.
robotics.com is our website. Google will lead you to us anyway, and you guys will find a whole community because we have a forum, we have a blog, we have our social media that we are playing with too. So yeah, come and visit us.
How
I
did you?
mean,
I have to ask. How did you get one of the best names in the industry? Also, right?
Yeah.
Like DIY Robotics, and as a copywriter, I'm sure
Yeah.
it makes sense. Like makes perfect sense to you. It's like it's exactly what it says. Like you know what the brand does right when you hear the name. I'm super impressed with that.
Great name. Well,
Yeah, thank you.
awesome. Talia and Matthew, thank you guys so much for joining us today. And for you at home or watching us, stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few minutes with Light Guide on deck. See you soon.
thank you.